Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian and today we're going to take a look at the Oculus Rift S. Now I'm going to unbox it on cam here. This was a fresh delivery straight from Oculus themselves, who sent it to me as a part of this sponsored video. So the Oculus Rift S was released on the 21st of May, it hasn't been out that long at all, and it's a step up from the previous Oculus Rift in many ways. In terms of specs, we get into that further into the video. For now, let's just have a look at what's in the box. Also, do take a look at the link in the video description where you can find out a whole load more information. So, it comes with the headset and two touch controllers. The touch controllers themselves are revised ones. They've been somewhat improved over the previous design, and they're still every bit as comfortable and usable as ever, so very nice. Another thing you may notice about the unboxing here is that the contents doesn't include any external sensors, and there's a reason for that, which we get into further into the video in more specifics. But essentially, the new Oculus Rift S has inside-out tracking, meaning that it doesn't actually need any external sensors. It also comes with everything you need. We've got a converter here for the display port, and you can see there's also batteries. Now, each Rift controller takes a single AA battery, so it doesn't require a lot of power. But either way, Oculus do provide you two of these batteries straight in the box. Now, I haven't had the chance to test just how long these actually last, but if the previous touch controllers are anything to go by, then the batteries will last for quite a while indeed. The first impression I got of the headset as I lifted it out of the box was that it is quite heavy. Not too heavy, don't get me wrong, but heavier than the Oculus Rift. And it's also a very solid, very well built. It doesn't feel flimsy in any way whatsoever, and it feels, well, like a nice expensive bit of kit. So now it's out of the box, let's see what it's all about and have a closer look at the headset itself and go into some details. So let's get to that. Well, personally, I think it's a vast improvement in terms of build design. And this is also functional changes, such as new weight distribution, thanks to this new headband that's around the front here. This band right here, because what this does, we can see a little bit, I think, in there. What this does is it takes a lot of the pressure, a lot of the weight off of your head. Now on the back of the headset is a dial. We've got a dial here, and what we can do, you can move that, you can turn that in and turn that out. It expands the size of the headband strap. Now when it's fully extended, I can get probably my fingers in between there at the back, but if you've got a humongous head, you may find that you can't quite get this on. But equally, when it's all the way in, my son can wear this and he's perfectly okay with it. So yeah, that's also good. And then again, the strap at the top, which takes some of the weight or some of the pressure off of the top, and it's very easy to adjust, very quick to adjust. What else? So you'll notice at the front here, on the sides, on the front, on the top, we've got some sensors, and let's see if we can show you those. You can see some sensors here. Yeah. Okay, and what these actually enable is the inside-out tracking for the Rift S. So basically, you don't need any external sensors anymore, and this is really a big step forward for the design of VR. It means you don't need to place sensors around the room, you don't need to place sensors on your desk, and you get full room scale, walking around, a full room scale functionality from the Rift S simply based on these sensors. And of course, even with the touch controllers, the new Rift S comes with these touch controllers redesigned of the original ones, slightly different. I think we can see that there. Let's refocus the camera a moment. Yeah, we can see that. So the headset is also capable of tracking the position of these controllers, the touch controllers, which means wherever you go, whichever way you're facing, these are always completely tracked. So yeah, that works really well as well. Now the exterior of the headset is made from smooth plastic. It's a firm plastic. I wouldn't say it feels like it's a cheap plastic. I also wouldn't say it's a necessarily a premium plastic, but it's a decent, decent quality, decent grade plastic. It's different to the fabric that we got previously on the other Rift, but it's still a very nice build design. In terms of comfort, we've got some foam around the headset here. The band at the back has some foam with a very nice fabric over the top, and it's a breathable fabric as well, which is also very nice. It means you don't really sweat with it, and if you do sweat with it, it's not too bad. You can see that foam also on the fabric also extends to the interior. Now, one of the other things is the lenses. The quality of these is, as you'd expect, very, very good. They're Fresnel lenses. I think the biggest downside is that you can't adjust the IPD. That's the distance between your pupils. So on the old Rift, you can move a slider and you could adjust the lenses here. They'd move in or out or side to side, which would account for people whose eyes are set slightly further apart or slightly closer together. When you go to an optician's, when you get a pair of glasses, you'll find the optician will measure the distance between your pupils, so they'll the IPD, and they'll adjust your glasses accordingly to that. And what you can do, or what you could do with the previous Rift, was use the little slider to adjust the distances between the lenses, and this would account for having eyes slightly further apart than the average or slightly closer together than the average. But what Oculus have decided with the Rift S is to build it for the average IPD. So that's pretty good, because most people, being the average, fit within the average, but if you're on the outside edges of the extremes of being either too close together or too far apart, and a number of people are like that, then you may find you have some issues with it. But even if you're slightly outside of the tolerance or the average, or slightly inside, you can make some software adjustments. Those will work, they will help, but they're not quite as ideal as having an IPD slider. But I guess there's some design reasons for that. It means you've got a nice solid build inside, whereas previously there was a fabric inlay inside the build, inside the Oculus Rift headset. The Rift S is very, very solidly designed, and it's completely sealed, which I think is actually a big improvement. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything I want to talk about with the Rift S in terms of its design and in terms of its build quality. Let's get on and have a look at some games. So it's been a week since the Oculus Rift S turned up for this sponsored video, and all the games that you see featured in this video do come from the Oculus Store, which is continuously growing and does have a whole bunch of titles available on it. Beat Saber, of course, is a natural game to try out when you're playing VR, whether you try it in normal mode, as you saw me just now, or some of the more difficult modes that you can see right in here. Expert mode plus, yeah, they're quite special and not quite there yet. I also spent my time with a number of other games, including Moss, Robo Recall, I Expect You to Die, and of course Elite Dangerous. Talking about room scale games like Beat Saber here, as well as Robo Recall and many of the others, one thing that does make the Oculus Rift S very, very convenient is the inside-out tracking. And of course, something I forgot to mention just now is the singular cable, which extends from the Oculus Rift. It does have two connectors on the end. One is a DisplayPort connector, which goes into your graphics card. The other is a USB 3 connector. But that's it. That's all you need in order to connect up to your computer. And the inside-out tracking means you can walk around your room or just sit down at your desk or in your seat without having to worry about any external sensors. The Oculus Rift itself, after all, is more than capable of keeping track of its own location. Now, you get a good feel for this when you go through the setup process, which is very quick and very, very easy. Basically, there's 3 steps, I believe, to this. The first is facing forward, so setting the forward-facing direction. You just look in the direction that you want to be forward and press a button. That's that. Then you set the floor. To do this, you just put the controller on the floor. You just touch the controller to the ground and press a button again, and that sets the floor position. And finally, if you want to set the Guardian system up, that's a grid-like protection system that warns you if you're getting close to the edges of your play area. You can just simply draw around the environment using a laser type of target. So all in all, it's very easy to set up. Now, as you can see, I tried out both standing games as well as seated games. And regardless of the type of game that you're actually playing, one of the first things you're going to notice when you put on the headset is the improved resolution. So the resolution is 1280 by 1440 for each eye. And this is, it's not massive step up from the previous Oculus Rift, but it certainly is noticeable. And also one thing that you will definitely notice is the improved screen door. It's virtually gone. You have to actually really look to see it. Or else, if you're in a very vividly bright game, maybe you're against a white background, you will also notice a very small screen door effect right there. But in darker areas, especially areas like this that we're seeing on the screen right now, it's not very visible at all. At least I didn't really notice it. Now, I don't really want to talk about the whole VR experience during this video, at least in the sense of what it's like to be inside VR, because I think many people who are interested in VR will have heard all of that by now. But I will talk very briefly about the specific experiences with these games. I Expect You to Die is a series of puzzles. You find yourself trapped in a particular area, sometimes a particular room, and you have to actually find your way out. The whole thing extends to almost parody type levels. It's actually quite funny, the situations you find yourselves in. Like for example here, I'm stuck in a submarine which has basically fouled. But it's not just fouled, it's also rigged with booby traps such as surprise grenades in some of the cupboards. So you have to figure your way out without exploding, and you have to figure your way out before the windows crack and you end up drowning. So basically each area in I Expect You to Die is very similar, and it takes quite a bit of thought to actually figure it all out. Now, Robo Recall, you've seen me play before. This is one of my favourite VR games. In fact, I really do enjoy all shooter VR games that I've tried so far, but Robo Recall is actually pretty special. Now, just as with I Expect You to Die, Robo Recall also moves into the realms of satire and parody, but that doesn't affect the action. The action is very rapid and very engaging. Locomotion in Robo Recall is achieved through teleportation, which personally for me is a relief because I do suffer from motion sickness, so that really does help in that regards. So then, my overall experience with the Oculus Rift S is that it's a pretty substantial step up from the previous Oculus Rift. But that's not to say that it feels like a full generational leap into new realms of VR. I think we're still a ways off from that actually happening. The improved resolution and reduced screen door effect are very nice and very welcome, but the most impressive thing, and easily the most beneficial thing, at least for me, is the inside-out tracking. It just makes the whole Rift experience that much more accessible. It just makes it easier, and you've got less hassle of things to worry about. You simply put on the headset and you're good to go. Now, there's no doubt going to be a whole load of you that are interested in hearing how the Oculus Rift S performs in Elite Dangerous. Now, this is something I'm going to be looking at very closely very soon, so do keep an eye out for that. But suffice to say, Elite Dangerous still remains one of the best VR games out there. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about the Oculus Rift S, do take a look at the link in the video description. It will take you to a website where you can find out everything you need to know. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.